Hey gang! About a month ago, I posted this video on Hannah Arendt's essay, What is Authority? In Between Past and Future. And ever since, I've had a couple thoughts about authority, authoritarianism, particularly this contemporary resurgence of authoritarianism that we're seeing in the West to some degree. So I thought I might make a follow-up video on authority and maybe the relevance of Arendt's What is Authority to our present circumstances. Because I think Arendt is prescient about this. I think there probably is a real crisis in authority in modern life. We are seeing, I think right now, a decline in support for democracy that when I was younger was really kind of unthinkable. So yeah, I'm Dr. Moore. I teach great books at St. Thomas University, and in this video we're going to talk about authority and authoritarianism. So in that essay, What is Authority? Arendt there's like so many arguments, so many things. There's a lot, but I think it really boils down to a couple of things. And the first one is that authority is useful, maybe necessary within human life. That maybe we need authority to get things done. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't like authority or doesn't, respond to authority figures, I can see why you would be distrustful of that. And I'll kind of get to that. But there may be good reasons why we need some authority in our lives, and especially maybe within politics in particular. I think we all, especially if we're kind of democratically inclined, we want decisions to be made through deliberation, through reasoned debate. And I think someone like Hannah Arendt believes that is the best form of political decision-making as well. But it's possible maybe that authority figures, legitimate authority figures, provide a more efficient way of making decisions when we need efficiency. If ever you've tried to decide something as a group or in a committee, you probably know that debate and discussion is not always the best way of achieving our goals. And this is true whether we're talking about politics or choosing what to watch on TV. So it may be useful for us, maybe even necessary for us politically, communally, to establish people, in families we do this too, right? People who are in charge of making the decisions, most of the decisions. Doesn't mean they're tyrants, right? But it just makes things work. Someone has the final say. Someone makes decisions so we don't have to debate every decision. And one example I used in that previous video was like a coach. Like a coach, I think, is a good example. When we think about athletics and sports, we invest coaches with authority. We might disagree with our coaches or the decisions that coaches make, but we recognize that in order for athletes or for teams to succeed, generally, we typically think that they need a coach. They need to be coached well, and they need to, in some sense, submit to the authority of the coach. Allow the coach to make certain decisions, to provide guidance. Now, authorities can obviously abuse their power. Arendt was well aware of this. They can coerce people, they can compel people to do things against their will, they can make bad decisions. And when that happens, authority figures lose legitimacy. And this brings us maybe to the second key point in that essay, I think, that there's a contemporary or modern crisis in authority. And in Arendt's estimation, she ties this to this pervasive modern doubt. We characteristically as moderns doubt everything. We just don't have much confidence in anything. There are very few things. I mean, think about this. What things in the world in existence have your unqualified support and admiration? Your country, your religion, your favorite celebrity? Almost nothing, right? And so we have this kind of standard, almost reflexive distrust of authority. One piece of evidence of this, I think, is the contemporary sort of put down of boomers, right? Just think about the way we talk about boomers nowadays, right? And the logic of that, and yeah, it's partly a joke, but the logic of that is you're old, therefore can't be trusted. You're old, your perspective doesn't count. And we can see this crisis in authority across the board, right? Politicians, police, priests, authority figures not looking very good right now. And in many cases, these are for good reasons, right? Like lots of authority figures or classes of authority figures have done terrible things that have rendered their authority illegitimate, right? So we no longer respect their authority or the authority of these particular offices or institutions. Now, again, if you're the kind of person who's like characteristically predisposed to distrust authority, you might think, yeah, that's good. Like, I don't want any of that. But Is this widespread distrust of authority good? I mean, you could think in other cases, right? What about distrust of the mainstream media, or distrust of doctors or scientists, distrust of expertise? That's also a species of this crisis in authority. Is that good for our political communities? This is what got me thinking about our contemporary political moment and the way we might see this crisis in authority manifesting right now in the 21st century. I think Arendt's argument and her concern, which I think is a good one, is that in trying to banish authority, right, to sow the seeds of this widespread distrust of authority, we may be doing damage to ourselves because we need authority. And I think Arendt's concern is that our attempt to banish authority from the world or from politics will backfire because it'll create almost like an authority vacuum. People, maybe certain types of people especially, will hunger, will have this desire for authority figures. And in the absence of traditional legitimate authorities, people will go looking for other kinds of authorities. And this might explain to some extent the rise of certain kinds of authoritative figures, certainly authoritative politicians, right? Authoritarian presidents. But also, I think, certain billionaires who are, suggesting that they could save the world, certain kinds of academics who can supply you with the rules you need for life. You just need to listen to me and you can live a better life. So we're seeing these authority figures emerge in these different sort of fields, right? In politics, in business, in academia. But in all these cases, actually, the pattern is very similar. The people, I think, who are drawn to these figures are often drawn to them because they feel this need, this desire for someone to tell them what to do. And so this might be dangerous. And I think, in fact, we've seen, clear evidence that in some cases this is very dangerous. We'll see people who might be very good at adopting authoritative postures, but might not be good. They might not care about things like justice or equality or the public good. They might not actually have expertise in business or science or art or history or whatever. They might just have expertise in projecting confidence. And we could end up in a bad situation. I think this was Arendt's fear. So all this is to say, choose your authority figures with care, because it seems we may need authority in order to function, but all authority might not be good. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.